June 27, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered a decision with sweeping implications, not just for immigration law, but for the balance of power in America itself. The court did not overturn birthright citizenship directly. Instead, it limited the power of federal courts to issue nationwide injunctions, legal orders that have historically been used to block unconstitutional government actions before they take effect. With that judicial safety net weakened, the path appears clearer for former President Donald Trump, who is once again on the campaign trail, to revive his plan to end birthright citizenship via executive order. Here's how Trump responded just hours after the decision.
We've had tremendous wins, but this was a tremendous win today. So I just want to congratulate you and Todd and your... This is really also a decision based on common sense. It didn't work the other way. It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi echoed that triumph, framing it as a security and power restoration issue.
But you should all feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers and why the people of the United States elected him.
But as the administration celebrated, legal scholars warned that the ruling could have devastating consequences for constitutional protections. Here's Professor Suzette Malveaux of Washington and Lee University.
The court has really done something very troubling, deeply troubling, and I would dare say dangerous in this time period. The court's ruling has really tied the hands of federal judges all over the country in terms of the kind of relief that they can provide and remedy what is clearly unconstitutional executive order or policy coming out of the administration.
So what exactly is birthright citizenship? The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1868, guarantees that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically a citizen, regardless of their parents' immigration status. The law was crafted to ensure that formerly enslaved individuals and their descendants could never be denied citizenship again. It has stood unchallenged for over 150 years, until Donald Trump began calling it a loophole and a magnet for undocumented immigrants. In 2018, he proposed an executive order to end it, sparking legal challenges that blocked the move. But with the Supreme Court's latest ruling, those roadblocks may no longer hold. Legal experts like immigration law expert Charles Kuck, adjunct professor at Emory and the University of Georgia Law School, warn the ruling doesn't just affect immigration. It shifts the balance of power in dangerous ways.
Well, this gives the president an enormous amount of power to basically rewrite federal law. That's what this executive order does. It tries to rewrite federal law and the ability of citizens to stop that from happening. There's been a lot of movement towards the unitary executive theory over the last 40 years or so, and this seems to be the capstone, basically saying the courts don't have the power to stop the executive branch from carrying out whatever the executive branch wants to carry out. Some would say it speaks of dictatorship authority.
The fallout from this ruling and any future executive action will hit the Indian immigrant community particularly hard. Every year, thousands of Indian nationals come to the U.S. on H-1B work visas, F-1 student visas, or while awaiting green cards. Many of them start families during their stay. Until now, their U.S.-born children have enjoyed full American citizenship. But if Trump's policy takes effect, those children could be stripped of that birthright, even if they've known no home but America. For these families, the stakes are enormous. Without U.S. citizenship, these children could face barriers to education, healthcare, travel, and even the threat of deportation if their parents' visas expire. They would live in a country where they were born, but without the protections or identity of a citizen. And the irony is, they may not automatically qualify for Indian citizenship either. Since 2003, India abolished birthright citizenship through amendments to the Citizenship Act. A child born in India now must have at least one Indian parent with legal status. For overseas births, it's even stricter. As a result, many Indian American children could become effectively stateless, caught between two countries, with neither offering them citizenship. This has triggered real fear in the community. Many Indian families are reconsidering childbirth plans, consulting immigration attorneys, or exploring legal guardianship strategies in case the law changes. Indian American lawmakers like Pramila Jayapal and Raja Krishnamurthy have criticized the ruling as discriminatory and dangerously exclusionary. And Indian consulates in the U.S. are reporting rising concern among families about what lies ahead. Lawsuits are already forming in response to both the Supreme Court decision and any forthcoming executive action. Civil rights groups warn that this could gut the 14th Amendment and unravel decades of settled law. Once again, Professor Malveaux explains the urgency.
If there ever was a case where the executive policy was pretty clearly unconstitutional, this would be one of them. Every single judge to have ruled on the policy has said that this is the birthright citizenship policy that Trump has proposed is against the text of the Constitution, is against over 100 years of precedent, and is certainly against Supreme Court practice.
This is no longer just about legal interpretation. It's about what kind of nation America wants to be. Birthright citizenship has always been a radical promise, that being born here means you belong here. It's what sets the United States apart from many other nations, including India, China, and much of Europe. To roll that back now would be to fundamentally alter the American idea, from a nation of inclusion to a gated identity determined by bureaucracy. Yes, immigration needs reform, but reform should expand opportunity, not deny identity. It should solve problems, not create stateless children. So the question remains, will the U.S. double down on fear and exclusion or live up to the Constitution's boldest promise?